Good morning. I hope you're doing great. Good afternoon or good evening. Welcome back again. I came across an article, well, actually, many articles that were compiled in a very interesting book that I keep reiterating the importance of and why you should read it, why you should consider reading it this particular year and getting benefits from it. Because it's a compilation of essays that were collected carefully from many sources, from many essays and books, other books, and they were compiled in this book. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting that you see this combination of so many authors trying to share their experience and knowledge, presenting it to you so you can read and enjoy and get some shortcuts in your life so you don't repeat their mistakes or you do not go this path or that path, but you get the shortcut to your success, to your happiness. And one of the essays that caught my attention while I was reading it is this one. So this podcast is, geared to discuss this essay, read it, and then hopefully this essay will open the door for you, the gateway to entering the path of reading so you can read with me the essays of this book. Hopefully we can make it as a routine where every day we go over one essay, we read it, we analyze it, we understand it. Hopefully in the coming days, some of you can share some of the experience that we do have in this particular chapter, but it's not a chapter actually, it's a compilation of sequential essays in many topics. So the essay says, read this if you do not know what you're doing with your life. اقرأ هذا إذا لم تكن تعرف ماذا تفعل في حياتك. So if you ask any adult, and the word adult is someone who is actually a person who's بالغ, شخص بالغ, what their primary stressor is the cause of stress, like something that makes you feel stressed is called stressor, and the plural is stressors in life. It's likely something that relates to uncertainty أو عدم الشك أو عدم اليقين من شيء, something in the future or presently. If you were to boil it down, so the expression, very interesting. This expression means, if we summarize it, but he is presenting it in a very casual, informal, non-academic way. And he's presenting it in this article by saying, if you were to boil it down to a sentence, إذا يعني شئنا أن نختصره في جملة, it would be something along the lines of, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Very interesting. Like, a lot of us actually come to this crossroad where I've achieved this and that and this and that, and I still have a lot of things to do. For example, pursuing a career that gives me the self-fulfillment and let me explore the world more, getting more knowledge, pursuing my PhD, being richer, hopefully. How many times have you heard someone says that? Many of my friends actually, when we are in our 20s and our 30s and our 40s, come across this kind of topic, and it's very interesting that we share this conversation about. And when you sit and listen to us talking about it, quite interesting that we come across so many things, and everyone has his own priorities in life and objectives. How many times have you heard someone says that? How many times have you said that? Like, have you said it? If you have said that, please put a comment. I promise I will respond back to you. Tell me have you got to that point where you got to ask yourself, I don't know what I'm doing with my life? Have you got to that level? If not, say why. And if yes, say why. Or just tell us what you think about. How many times have you heard someone says that? How many times have you said that? Probably a lot. The idea that we should know is a heaping pile of socially crafted bullshit that's been superimposed on our psyches since kindergarten, and it's holding us back. Now, let me recap and explain. The whole of what I'm doing with my life is actually a compilation of things that you were told that you should do this. We expect you to be a doctor, a dentist, an engineer, the next Zaha Hadid, and something like that. Nobody, not one of us, knows what we're doing with our lives. We can't summarize the big picture. We simply cannot. Not yet. We don't know what we'll be doing in 5 years. Nobody knows where we will settle in 5 years. Nobody. And pretending that we can predict that isn't being responsible or ambitious. It's cutting ourselves off from living according to our inner navigation systems, as opposed to the narrative we once thought would be right. Now, let me recap here, because this is very important. It's cutting ourselves off from living according to our inner navigation, in our passion, in our feelings. We have a direction. We know, hopefully you know where you're heading in the 5 coming years. Maybe just putting it simply, failing to plan is a planning to fail. Sometimes the idea of the plan, that we throw it in the matrix of the system of God or universe in general, is the idea that this is our path. We'll work according to this path, but we don't know if this will kickstart something new, if this can help us, bring some new things to our life or not. So it's more of philosophy, it's more of religion, prediction, something of this kind of, and this sort of. You owe nothing to your younger self. You're not responsible for being the person you once thought you would be. But you do owe something to the adult you are today. So we do have a responsibility for our current self. And what is that kind of responsibility? Do you know why you don't have the thing you once thought you wanted? Do you know why you're not the person you once thought you'd be? Very interesting. Because you don't want those things anymore. We grew up, we matured. Human being matures over time and experience. Some people age, some people don't age in terms of maturity, and they're still young. But deep inside them, there's this kind of adulthood that's blooming, but at the same time, they want to accumulate more knowledge and experience and this sort of thing. You're wondering what you should do with your life. It's likely that you are in the limbo. So in the limbo is an expression, a very interesting expression that means you're not sure yet. Maybe taking the right direction or the left direction. We're not. So we're in the limbo. We're in the limbo. So the expression is in the limbo. Now, how can we say that? Well, we are in the limbo. We're not sure if we decided to go for dinner or not go for dinner. We're in the limbo of whether we are supporting this team like Real Madrid or Barcelona. So we're in the limbo between realizing you don't want what you once did and giving yourself permission to want what you want now. So since we have matured, this is very quite interesting thing. Thinking you know what you're doing with your life. Quells your hunger. Quells your hunger. Now, quells means to kill, to stop your hunger. Thinking you know what you're doing with your life quells your hunger. Now, sometimes we know what we want in our life, and sometimes we don't. It soothes your mind with the illusion that your path is laid out before you. It gives you the feeling that since I put this plan for my future, I want to be a pilot, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a specialist in IT, I want to be a hacker. Nobody nobody can tell you everything about their life, but this is the general consensus that some people have different kind of set of skills and ambitions to have. It soothes your mind with the illusion that your path is laid out before you. Before you means in front of you. So this is another preposition that is uh, quite interestingly used here in this kind of manner to represent, you know, this situation here, and that you no longer have to choose. So you don't have any flexibility with your choice because everything is planned for you, which is another way to say you're no longer responsible for becoming the person you want and need to be. Sometimes there is this herd decision and herd thinking that if you see people like heading in this direction, you go with them because this is going to give to quell to stop your inner insecurity from stepping in and giving you that kind of like insecure feeling that you're alone, that you're fighting alone, that is nobody supporting you. So it's quite interesting actually to think about it that way. So there was this kind of experiment that was conducted sometime in one of the universities, and the professor told the students this. He told the students, this is a green file. So he shows them a green file. I'm going to show you the Logitech keyboard. So he shows the student a green file. I'm using this as a sample here. And he tells them there was a student who was late. So when he shows up, I will ask you the question, what is the color of this file? What's the color of this file? And you got to say it's red. And everybody should say it's red. Now, they get ready, they got the information. So the student arrives usually late. So when he settles down on his chair, the professor raises the file and he asks the student, what is the color of this? He raises the file and he asks the students, what is the color of this file? Let's assume that this is the file. The students respond, it's red. So the student looks surprised and he looks at every one of the students and they seem very confident that the color of the file is red. And then the professor goes around asking like multiple students and everyone confirms that it's red while it's green. So out of the inner insecurity of that student, he gets asked, what is the color of this folder? And the student says, it's, guess what? Red. Now, why did he say that? It's actually the community, the social network that gives you this kind of feeling that you have to say, you have to perform in certain kind of manner, like sheep, like the herd thinking. Otherwise, people will look at you as an outsider, as a stranger, as a castaway. Maybe they stigmatize you with the kind of thinking that you possess. So you are going to um, condition yourself mentally to the social response of those people. So the experiment, this kind of narrative, this kind of experiment tells us very interesting thing, that no matter what people think, if you're socializing with businessmen, if you're socializing with um, with losers, you'll be hardwired to think like them. So socialize with people who are very outgoing, open-minded, successful businessmen, entrepreneurs, people who explored the world. They will let you hardwire to think in harmony with them. You'll be thinking like them. In a matter of many months, you'll definitely be one of them. Hunger is important. Complete fulfillment is the fast track of complacency. Now, complacency is like, um, how do we say it? We say it in Arabic, هو حب الذات. Please don't thrive when they are fulfilled. They stagnate. They get stuck. They stop. They stagnate. So fuck knowing what you're going to do with your life. What you're doing today, who do you love? What intrigues you? What would you do today if you could be anyone you wanted? If social media didn't exist, what do you want to do this weekend? What do I want? That's the question you should ask yourself. Fuck the world. Think about what you want. What's your passion? Where do you want to go? Now you're watching me. I'm using these kind of quoting the words from this essay, from this short essay. I want you to think about something quite important, quite significant, that the why I'm presenting this to you is for apparently very simple reason. I want to spark that kind of flame inside you to think about where you want to be, what you want to achieve with your life. Please let me know. Add it in the comment. Share it with people. When you talk about it, you kind of visualize it, you kind of create it. So once the idea is settled in your mind and you start thinking about it, you will definitely be the next generation of people who are very successful. There's this philosopher who said, we do not adopt ideas, ideas adopt us. Because the ideas are there, they've been thought before by other generations, and they just arrived at us because we heard them from other people. So ideas control us. We do not control our ideas, because these ideas were instilled, we gained from, our social networks. Like, why do you want to be a teacher? If you were born and isolated in a room, you would never think that you're going to be the next generation of successful professors or at Harvard University. But when you see it, you believe it. And that's the importance of adopting the innovative, the brilliant ideas, because they will approximate you. They will let you reach your goals faster. They will give you the shortcuts. Reading for philosophers, reading for thinkers, trying to amass knowledge from your successful social network is the best way. Reading is also very important. That's why I am very passionate. I sit with the heat, with the temperature of this room, and I wipe my face with a napkin between now and then, and I clip it off the video, because I am very passionate about what I'm doing, because I believe that when you see this video, when you get to the 19 or 20 minutes threshold, you're not any person. You're not somebody who's a scroller. You just see this short video and you're just excited about it, like a word of the day. This is bullshit. You need to be patient. You need to be tolerant of boredom. You need to overcome the monotony of the long videos, because they will give you the inner flare that will fire up the curiosity in inside you to move on in your career, in your scholarships, in your studies, in any walk in life. Going back here, because it's very important, we just cut it short here. What do I want? Is a question you need to ask yourself every day. What do I want today? The things that run true will weave through your life. The ones that pop back up again and again are the ones you will follow. You will become the places you remain. Look at this. The people you're drawn to, the choices you make. The core truths will win out, even if other truths are lodged beside them. Listening to it is saying, what do I want now? That's the question. So let me highlight this part because it's very important. Very important. Look at this. Let's read it again. They'll become the places you remain, the people you're drawn to, the choices you make. The core truths will win out, even if other truths are lodged beside them. They stacked one to the next. Think about it. What do you want to do? What do you want now? Have a wonderful day or evening.